For stratospheric music and hemispheric news, dial 63 WPRO in Providence.
Headlines, highlights, and weather. Soviet Premier Khrushchev is expected to deliver a major policy speech tomorrow to the Communist Party's Central Committee. He probably will reply to President Kennedy's decision to resume in-the-air nuclear testing. The United States Army plans to send a 1,500-man battle group along the Autobahn into West Berlin. A Tokyo newspaper says Japan will formally protest the U.S. decision to begin atmospheric nuclear testing once again. Astronaut John Glenn spending the day at his Virginia home before returning to Cape Canaveral on Monday. Richard Cardinal Cushing, hospitalized with stomach ulcers, is reportedly much improved in Boston. A spokesman at Lincoln Downs said this morning that a decision will be made later today on whether horse racing will resume at the track tomorrow. And Providence College reigns today as the undisputed college basketball champion of New England. Providence crushing the top contender Holy Cross by 21 points last night, 92-71 in the Friars' regular season finale. In other basketball action last night, Connecticut defeated the University of Rhode Island 89-83 to kill URI's hopes to tip Massachusetts for the Yankee Conference title, and Brown romping to a 93-78 victory over Dartmouth in an Ivy League game played at Brown. WPRO weather word, intermittent light snow and cold today. Color radio pro temperature 26 degrees. This has been WPRO News. Doug Schaffner reporting. I'll be back with more news at 11 a.m. on the Big WPRO in Providence.
WPRO Channel 63
presents the Weekend Spectacular.
Music all day, the color radio
Hi, shipmates. You know, the door of the shack is always open for our visit each morning between 6 and 10. I'll have the coffee pot on, we'll listen to some good wake-up music, and catch up on the latest news from Bud Taves when you join me each morning on WPRO.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Salt. And tomorrow morning, $33 phone dollars. And the first number tomorrow morning on the transistor giveaway with a twist contest going on at Color Radio, be a part of. And later tomorrow, maybe Monday afternoon or evening, drop in to Rabbit Hall.
When the values go up, up, up,
and the prices go down, 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 Robert Hall this season will show you the reason. Low overhead, low overhead.
Right, and there are Rabbit Hall clothing centers on the highway in East Providence and Warwick, as well as in North Attleboro, Somerset, and North Dartmouth, Massachusetts as well. And all open every day, 9:30 a.m. until 9:30 p.m. For one reason, your shopping convenience.
WPRO Channel 63.
28 degrees downtown, 11:15, 10:45 a.m. Sunday morning, and drive with care. There's a little bit of spit and snow out there making the ice hazardous, all right?
Up front, where taste and flavor begin, up ahead of its pure white modern filter, Winston and only Winston gives you Filter Blend. Mild, flavorful Filter Blend.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Up front in the tobacco end, Winston gives you Filter Blend. Up front in the tobacco end,
the flavor comes from Filter Blend.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Filter Blend, Winston's own combination of golden, flavorful tobacco, specially selected, then specially processed, is why Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
search makes the big news at 11. Doug Schaffner reporting. Dense woodlands mark the spot of an intensive search for a missing Taunton man. With developments up to this hour, reporting from the scene, Gene Marks.
The search for an elderly man continues in Taunton after 14 hours. Taunton police, firefighters, and civil defense men, 35 in all, are searching dense woodland, homes, churches, and abandoned buildings in the south end of Taunton for the 62-year-old man who wandered away from his home late last night. State police bloodhounds from the Rehoboth barracks produced negative results so far. Chief Babola identifies the man as John Rogers, 62, 5 foot 7 inches tall, 150 pounds, gray hair, blue eyes, and walks with a cane. He was last seen wearing a tan hat, gray topcoat, and gray trousers. Anyone seeing this man or knowing of his whereabouts should contact Taunton Police or Fire Department. At the scene of the search, Gene Marks, WPRO News.
Meanwhile, in Sunday's International News Day, the big story, observers agreeing in general that Soviet Premier Khrushchev must get tough in his reply tomorrow to President Kennedy's decision to resume atmospheric nuclear testing. The Chinese Communists, as well as other elements behind the Iron Curtain, criticizing Khrushchev for some time over his too-soft attitude toward the West. The announcement by Mr. Kennedy puts Khrushchev in a position of having to strike back at the West of risk of more criticism from within his own ranks. Channel 63 line scanning the nation, the West Allis, Wisconsin local of the United Auto Workers Union, approving the contract agreement reached with the Allis-Chalmers Company. Local 248 covers 5,600 workers and became the first local to agree on ratification of the agreement. 4 persons, including the head baseball coach at Rice University, were killed in a head-on crash near Bay City, Texas last night. Del Morgan and a fishing companion were riding in a pickup truck that collided with a passenger car. Police say one of the 2 vehicles was traveling in the wrong lane, but they can't tell which because the wreckage is so twisted. In New England News at 11 in Lawrence, Massachusetts, police continuing their search for a slender gunman who held up a department store messenger. In Greenwich, Connecticut, police checking the identity of a Bridgeport man fatally injured in an auto accident. Officials say the motorist apparently lost control of his car on a curve in Greenwich early this morning. He then rammed 3 utility poles and a stone wall. In Middlebury, Vermont, the first-degree murder trial of a St. Albans, Vermont housewife continues tomorrow. Mrs. Charlotte McConey is charged in the rifle slaying of her husband. And from Keene, New Hampshire, an announcement that Keene has been selected as the site of the 1963 Little League World Series. Will they be off and running tomorrow? Well, a spokesman at Lincoln Downs said this morning that a decision will be made later today on whether horse racing will resume at the track tomorrow. The spokesman said the racing strip is still frozen and that the jet blower heater will be used in attempts to thaw out the strip. B.A. Dario, president and treasurer of Lincoln Downs, said yesterday that it was going to cost at least $100,000 extra to get this meeting really underway. Besides that, he went on to say, we have lost about $100,000 profit through not operating. Sunday's Newsday calls forth 2 announcements in Rhode Island's capital city. In one, a National Aeronautics and Space Administration recruiter reported business was pretty good in Providence. Jack Sudworth said about a dozen persons came to his headquarters at a downtown hotel yesterday seeking information about jobs with a federal agency. And he further said an unaccounted number of other persons had telephoned for information. Meanwhile, the United States Internal Revenue Service says collections in the Providence District for February were about $10 million below the same month a year ago. A brutal slaying in Jamestown, and this report on yesterday's resulting court action.
Pleas of innocence were entered yesterday in Newport District Court for a teenage boy and his mother for being held in connection with the death of the youth's father. Police say they're holding 17-year-old Ralph Motica Jr. on a murder charge and his mother, 36-year-old Mrs. Dorothy Motica, on a charge of compounding a felony. The youth was ordered held without bail, and Mrs. Motica was jailed in lieu of $10,000 bail. Police accuse the youth of allegedly striking his father over the head with a piece of slate rock during a family argument. Bob Cusack, WPRO News.
Checking news from Rhode Island colleges, freshman students in the University of Rhode Island College of Engineering won't have to take elementary physics under a new program starting in September. Under the new program approved by the college faculty, elementary physics will be replaced in the sophomore and junior years with a 3-course sequence in modern physics. And a Brown University psychology professor says that whether you like it or not, from man to mouse, the same fundamental mechanisms exist in the brains of animals. Professor Carl Pfaffman telling a psychology conference of high school students last night that intelligent behavior grows with the size of the brain. Certainly something to think about. Here's the latest official WPRO weather eye for all of southern New England. Cloudy with intermittent light snow and cold today. Highest temperature in the upper 20s. Cloudy with occasional light snow and not so cold tonight. Lowest temperature in the lower 20s. Monday, cloudy with occasional light snow or drizzle and warmer. Providence street level temperature 29 degrees. Color Radio's big story of the hour. Dense woodland marked the spot of an intensive search for a missing Taunton man. That's WPRO Pulse Speed News at 11. Doug Schaffner reporting. Next news at 11:30 on WPRO in Providence.